Germany's post-war transformation is nothing short of extraordinary. A country once left in ruins after World War II rose to become the industrial backbone of Europe. For decades, it dominated the European landscape with economic growth and productivity far outmatching those of its European counterparts. But today, this economic miracle faces its toughest challenge yet. With the perfect storm of extremely difficult obstacles, could we be witnessing the end of Germany's economic dominance? To understand why Germany's economy is in such a dramatic decline, we first need to explore how it built itself into a global industrial powerhouse. After World War II, Germany was a nation in ruins. Cities bombed to rubble, infrastructure destroyed, and the economy shattered. In 1949, the country was divided into two: the capitalist West Germany and the communist East Germany. The economic miracle, or Wuschwaswunder, would unfold primarily in the West, while East Germany followed a different path under Soviet influence. West Germany faced significant challenges, occupied by Allied forces and cut off from the industrial centers of the East. It was left with a devastated economy and a population struggling to rebuild. Yet through a combination of reforms, financial aid, and strategic policies, West Germany saw an unprecedented economic revival. West Germany's first chancellor, Konrad Adenauer, played a crucial role in steering the country towards stability and growth. His government prioritized strong alliances with the West and economic integration with Europe. Under Adenauer's leadership and with Ludwig Erhard as the Minister of Economic Affairs, West Germany introduced policies that embraced free market principles while maintaining a strong social safety net. This social market economy, as it was called, allowed for a competitive marketplace while protecting workers' rights and ensuring social benefits. A key part of this transformation was labor market liberalization. The government restructured labor laws, making it easier for businesses to hire and grow, while ensuring workers' rights were protected through collective bargaining agreements. This flexibility helped West Germany absorb millions of displaced persons and refugees, integrating them into the workforce. With the help of the Marshall Plan, which provided West Germany with over $1.4 billion in financial aid by 1952, that's around $20 billion in today's equivalent, and the introduction of the Deutsche Mark in 1948, West Germany stabilized its currency and inflation. Indeed, by 1950s, West Germany's economy was growing at a staggering rate, averaging 8% annual GDP growth. Industrial output doubled between 1950 and 1960, while sectors like automotive, chemicals, and manufacturing leading the way. Volkswagen, Siemens, and Bayer became household names, representing German precision engineering and efficiency. By liberalizing the labor market, reducing unemployment, and investing in industrial production, West Germany quickly regained its position as a global economic leader, which lasted for many decades, well into the reunification of the country in 1990. Germany's rapid post-war recovery wasn't just a one-time success either. It laid the groundwork for a world-renowned model of efficiency and innovation. At the heart of this model was a highly skilled workforce, a commitment to precision engineering, and a unique system of collaboration between industry, labor, and government. German companies built their reputation on high-quality products and long-term planning. Industries such as automotive, chemicals, and machinery, which have been mentioned before, thrived due to a focus on meticulous craftsmanship and engineering excellence. Companies like BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Bosch became leaders in their fields, exporting their products across the globe. Germany's export-oriented economy became a key driver of its success. By the 1970s and 1980s, it was the world's third largest economy, thanks to its strength in industrial exports. In fact, exports accounted for around 50% of the country's GDP, with a heavy focus on advanced manufacturing and technology. Beyond its traditional industries, Germany also became a leader in innovation, investing in new technologies and renewable energy. The German apprenticeship system, which combines education with hands-on industry training, has long ensured a steady flow of highly skilled workers, keeping the economy competitive in the global market. This combination of innovation, education, and efficiency kept Germany at the forefront of global economic powerhouses. Its economic model, centered on precision, quality, and collaboration, allowed it to remain competitive well into the 21st century. Taking us back to the present day, Germany, once the industrial powerhouse of Europe, is facing a storm like never before. The signs of decline are no longer subtle, they are dramatic and alarming. Industrial output, the core of Germany's economic might, has taken a nosedive. In 2023 alone, Germany's industrial output dropped by nearly 10%. Factories are closing, production lines are slowing, and the country's manufacturing sector, once a global leader, is shrinking at an unprecedented rate. The backbone of German economy is faltering. Even Volkswagen, one of Germany's most iconic companies, is considering closing its first factory in Germany in over 87 years due to shifting market conditions. If this was to happen, it would mark a historic low point for the country's industrial base. The decline doesn't stop there either. Germany's GDP growth has come to a near standstill as well. Over the past few years, the country's growth has averaged just 0.2%, well below the European Union average. Adding to these woes is Germany's deteriorating infrastructure. According to the World Economic Forum's Global Competitiveness Report, Germany's ranking for infrastructure quality has slipped from 3rd to 8th in recent years. Roads, bridges, and public transportation systems, once the envy of the world, are now in desperate need of repair. Years of underinvestment, just 2.5% of GDP, have left the country with crumbling infrastructure, which is hampering economic growth and reducing industrial efficiency. But these symptoms of decline didn't arise out of nowhere. They are a result of a series of policy decisions that, while may have been well-intentioned, have had a devastating consequence for the very industries that once made Germany a global leader. For decades, Germany's economic model thrived on one critical element: cheap and abundant energy. The foundation of Germany's post-war industrial rise was built on access to low-cost fossil fuels and efficient energy production. Coal, oil, and later nuclear power kept German factories humming and allowed the country to dominate in sectors like automotive, machinery, and chemicals. But that era is coming to a painful end. In a bid to lead the world in the transition to a green economy, Germany made a series of bold and now, as many argue, short-sighted energy decisions. In 2011, following the Fukushima nuclear disaster in Japan, Germany committed to phasing out nuclear power entirely. By 2022, all of the country's nuclear power plants were shut down. At the same time, Germany accelerated its plans to phase out coal, aiming to cut its reliance on fossil fuels and become a global leader in renewable energy. The vision was ambitious. Wind, solar, and natural gas would power Germany's future, but the reality has been far more complicated. Without enough reliable renewable energy infrastructure in place, and with nuclear off the table, Germany has been forced into an embarrassing U-turn. Faced with energy shortages, the government reopened some of its coal plants, the very facilities it had pledged to close, to keep lights on and prevent widespread industrial shutdowns. What was meant to be a leap into the green future has so far been a stumble. Then came the major elephant in the room, the Ukraine-Russia conflict. For years, Germany had relied heavily on Russian natural gas to power its homes and industries, with Russian energy accounting for nearly 55% of its gas imports before the war. It was cheap, reliable, and vital to maintaining Germany's industrial edge. But when Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, everything changed. In response to the invasion, Germany and much of Europe dramatically decoupled from Russian energy. This decision triggered a fully fledged energy crisis in Europe. Gas prices skyrocketed, supply chains were disrupted, and industries dependent on stable and affordable energy suddenly found themselves facing a dire situation. Cutting off Russian gas forced Germany to turn to much more expensive liquefied natural gas, or LNG, from other parts of the world. The shift drove energy prices even higher, putting enormous strain on both German industries and consumers. What was once a stable and low-cost energy supply has now become a costly burden, pushing energy prices up by over 40% since the start of the war. Germany's industrial sector has been hit hard. Companies that once thrived on cheap energy are now struggling with skyrocketing costs, while consumers face rising electricity prices. What was supposed to be a carefully planned transition to a green economy has turned into a perfect storm of policy missteps and geopolitical risks. In hindsight, Germany's rapid closure of nuclear and coal plants without a stable renewable energy infrastructure or reliable alternatives has created a precarious energy situation. The sudden decoupling from Russia, done for geopolitical reasons, has only exacerbated the crisis. What we're witnessing now, in part, is the fallout from policies that ignored the realities of energy dependence, industrial demand, and geographic constraints. Another major factor is the shifting dynamics of globalization. For decades, globalization was a key driver of Germany's economic success. Its export-driven economy, built on high-quality industrial goods, found eager markets across the globe, particularly in high-growth emerging markets. In 2015, Germany was the world's third largest exporter, with exports making up nearly 50% of its GDP. But the same forces that once powered Germany's rise are now creating competitors in the global marketplace. In 2001, when China joined the World Trade Organization, or WTO, it was seen as a massive opportunity for German businesses. Exports to China surged, and by 2020, China was Germany's largest trading partner, accounting for over 200 billion euros in bilateral trade. German automakers in particular thrived. Volkswagen, for example, sold 40% of its vehicles to China, but that dynamic is changing rapidly. China is no longer just a market for German goods. It has become a direct competitor. By 2022, China overtook Germany as the world's largest producer of electric vehicles. In the first half of 2023, Chinese EV exports increased by over 50%, putting immense pressure on German automakers like Volkswagen and BMW, who have been slow to transition to electric technology. Germany's share of global EV sales has stagnated as well, with just 15% of its auto sales coming from electric models, compared to over 25% in China's case. But it's not just China. Other emerging markets like Vietnam, Mexico, and India are increasingly becoming global hubs for industrial production. These countries offer low labor costs, improving infrastructure, and rapidly growing economies, making them attractive alternatives to manufacturing giants like Germany. In 2023, India surpassed Germany in manufacturing output, driven by a strong focus on industrial production and government-backed initiatives like Make in India. Mexico, with its proximity to the US market, has also become a major player in the automotive and electronics industries, attracting investment from global companies looking to diversify supply chains. In fact, Mexico's share of global manufacturing exports grew by 7% in 2022 alone. Meanwhile, Vietnam has seen its exports of electronics and textiles surge, with global brands like Apple increasingly shifting production there to take advantage of its low cost and free trade agreements. The rise of these new industrial hubs is reshaping the global supply chain. As labor costs in Germany remain high, these emerging markets are outcompeting German manufacturers in key sectors. While German industries struggle with high energy costs and aging infrastructure, countries like Vietnam, Mexico, and India are stepping in to fill the gap, taking market share in areas that Germany once completely dominated. The data is stark. In 2022, Germany's global export market share fell to 7.2%. Its lowest in 30 years. Meanwhile, China's share, for example, continues to rise, now accounting for over 15% of global exports. As Germany faces rising competition from multiple fronts, its traditional advantages, precision engineering, high-quality manufacturing, and export dominance, are being eroded by faster, more cost-effective producers. Globalization, once a boon for German industry, is now a double-edged sword. The rise of new competitors in Asia and Latin America is creating a more fragmented global market, where Germany's dominance is no longer assured. Germany must now confront this reality of a global marketplace that no longer revolves around its industrial might. And the final point I wanted to raise is Germany's demographic time bomb. The country's population is aging rapidly, and this is said to have a quite profound consequence for the economic future of the country. While these challenges are not unique to Germany, I must admit, similar patterns are emerging across Europe. The impacts will be felt more acutely here, particularly because Germany's economic model is so heavily reliant on industrial production. As of 2023, nearly 22% of Germany's population is over the age of 65, making it one of the oldest populations in the world. By 2030, this number is expected to rise to nearly 30%. At the same time, the working age population, those between the ages of 15 and 64, has been shrinking steadily. Between 2010 and 2020, Germany's working age population fell by nearly 4 million people, and projections show that this decline will continue in the coming decades. With fewer younger people entering the labor market and a large portion of the population reaching retirement age, Germany faces a significant labor shortage. Indeed, by 2030, the country is expected to be short by as many as 5 million workers. Germany's reliance on an industrial economic model makes this demographic shift especially challenging. In countries with more diversified economies, the transition may be less painful. But for Germany, where nearly a quarter of GDP is tied to manufacturing, the loss of a skilled workforce could have far-reaching consequences for economic growth. The companies are already struggling to fill positions, and labor shortages are driving up wages, increasing production costs, and reducing competitiveness on the global stage. Without significant reforms, both in immigration policies and in attracting young workers to critical industries, Germany's demographic future looks bleak. Experts predict that by 2040, Germany could face one of the worst labor shortages in Europe, crippling its industrial sector and further slowing its economic engine. Is the Germany's economic miracle truly over? Or is this simply a transitional phase in the nation's evolution? The industrial economic model in its current form certainly looks in steep decline, if not already broken. So Germany's ability to remain a global powerhouse will depend on its ability to navigate this new reality and tackle its structural problems by reshaping trade relationships, investing in future-facing industries, and reducing reliance on legacy sectors. Where technological advancements reshape industries, There is an urgent need to transition towards high-tech sectors such as digital innovation, artificial intelligence, and biotechnology. But ultimately, this is just my take. What do you guys think? Do you agree? Disagree? Do you feel I've missed some important insight on this particular topic? Let me know. This is a new channel. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed, please add a like and subscribe so I can grow the channel and bring you more content in the future. Oh, and let me know if there's anything in particular you'd like me to talk about next. Anyways, thank you guys and take care.